Alright, for this next problem, the presentation is going to be in this manner. So sine of 5 degrees, cosine 25, plus cosine of 5, sine of 25. And we want to take this, expand it, and find the condensed formula. So what we want to do for that is we want to go back to our first page in our notes and find the one that's sine alpha cosine beta plus cosine alpha sine beta. So we look at the ones that do that have our sine times cosine, sine times cosine right here, plus cosine times sine. So we've determined out of all of these formulas that we're working with this one. So I'm going to pull that to the next page. I'm going to remind us, let me get back there. So it's going to match the sine formula for plus in the middle. So it's this top one. Okay, so with that being said, I can rewrite this right-hand side as simply sine alpha plus beta, like this. Now the only thing we need left to do is determine what's alpha. Let me do it in red. Alpha is 5 degrees, and what is beta? There, so alpha, beta, so this is just going to be the sine of 5 degrees plus 25 degrees. When we simplify that, that's going to be the sine of 30 degrees. Now at this point, go to your unit circle and evaluate sine at 30 degrees, which you could pull that up and look on your unit circle and see that it's 1/2. So we're going to work in the reverse manner this time for these particular problems. Okay, one more time, you flip back to your first page and you look all over all your formulas, and it's sine cosine plus cosine sine. So that's sine cosine plus cosine sine. Once again, we're going to be here. Okay, so then it's going to be this first one, which is sine alpha plus beta. So sine alpha, whoops, sine alpha plus beta. Now let's label alpha, beta, alpha, beta. So sine is going to be 10 degrees plus 50 degrees. Simplify that, we get sine of 60 degrees. Go to your unit circle. The sine at 60 degrees is going to be the square root of 3/2. Okay, so number 10, if you want to pause it and write that down, cosine, cosine minus sine, sine. So if we jump back to our first page, cosine, cosine minus sine, sine. We can see we're working with this first formula, so we'll okay, make a note over there. So basically we're going to have cosine of alpha plus beta. This is alpha, beta, alpha, beta. So this is going to be the cosine of 25 degrees plus 35 degrees, which is going to be cosine of 60 degrees. Go to your unit circle while I'm fixing this. What is the cosine at 60 degrees? 1/2. Good job. Okay, so number 11, we're working with this. I'm going to go pull the tangent formulas while you pause this and jot this down. Okay, so we have to determine which one of these we're working with. Well, we can see that it's a plus and a minus, which is this top formula. So we actually have a, we're working with tangent of alpha plus beta. Now we want to go back into the original problem and leave alpha, beta. It means alpha, beta here, so that's just tangent alpha plus our beta is 40. Add those together. Simplify, we get tangent at 60 degrees, which is your sine over your cosine, and when that simplifies, you're just going to get the square root of 3. Alright, and our next example, it just says find the exact value. Now, we can label these as alphas and betas and then alpha and beta. Now we need to go find the formula that fits this. Sine alpha cosine beta minus cosine alpha sine beta. So go back and look at your formulas and find the one that matches this. Okay, looking at these two sine, we can see there's a subtraction in the middle, so we're working with this bottom one. So it's sine alpha minus beta. So we're going to be working with sine alpha minus beta, which if we plug in our values for alpha, that's going to be pi over 2 minus 3 pi over 4. Get a common denominator right there and simplify. That's going to give us actually a negative pi over 4. Okay, which is the same thing as pulling this negative out front and getting the sine of pi over 4 and keeping the negative. Remember, so by our odd function, so sine of negative alpha is equal to the negative sine of alpha. Okay, so we'll find the sine at pi over 4, which is the square root of 2 over 2, and then we have that negative value because of this property over here. Okay, number 13, we'll have cosine alpha cosine beta minus sine alpha sine beta. If I labeled alpha and betas already, while I'm labeling this and you write your problem down, go to your formulas and find the one that matches this problem. Okay, good job if you came up with the cosine of alpha plus beta. So then I come over here and I know I'm working with cosine of alpha plus beta, which alpha is 2 pi over 9 plus beta is 5 pi over 18. Get a common denominator there and simplify, which would give us cosine of 9 pi over 18 once we got a common denominator, which simplifies to pi over 2. Okay, you can do the scratch work to that on the side. And so what is the cosine at pi over 2? Just 0. Good. Okay, number 14, we want to establish the identity. So we have sine of pi plus theta is equal to the negative sine of theta. Now we want to see this as, first of all, I could label this as an alpha and this is a beta. So I'm going to go pull my formula for sine alpha plus beta. Sine alpha plus beta would be the top one, so I'm going to use that to rewrite. So it's going to be sine of alpha cosine beta plus cosine alpha sine of beta. Okay, what is the sine of pi on the unit circle? Good, 0. So cosine alpha, I don't have an alpha, so I'm just going to leave it alone. I don't have a theta, I'm just going to leave it alone. Plus, what is the cosine at pi? We can evaluate that one, that's -1. Since I don't know what theta is, I just leave it sine of theta. So 0 times anything is just 0. And over here, that's just going to be minus the sine of theta, which simplifies to minus negative sine of theta, which was verified what we want it to. Okay, we're going to have another establish the identity. So we want to show that this left-hand side, in fact, equals this right-hand side. This is going to be a cosine of alpha minus beta. So if I alpha minus beta. So go find your cosine formula for that. Okay, so we pull that up and this, then we can rewrite as cosine alpha, which is 3 pi over 2 times cosine beta, which is just theta, plus sine of 3 pi over 2 times the sine of theta. Alright, now this part we can evaluate on the unit circle. What's the cosine of 3 pi over 2? Just 0. Good. And then that's times, bring down cosine theta there, plus We can evaluate this on the unit circle. That's going to be -1, and then I bring down sine of theta. Once again, 0 times anything, 0 minus sine of theta equals negative sine of theta, which verifies our right-hand side.